Previously, we worked on a project where we used a scanner to open a file called hours.txt that looked like this. And then what we did was we pushed it into a method, and this method took the scan as a parameter, used a while loop for while scan has next, which basically got the next string or token, and it stored it in name, and then it initialized a double called sum. And what this sum did was it added all of these doubles together, and then what it did was print them out right here as sum. And then we would also print out the name that was associated with that sum. And this was the initial file. However, if we were to change this such that before our string, so before like the name Erica, we would have an ID, so another number. If we would have like 1, and this one we would have 783, this one we have 114, and then this one we had 238, and then this one we had 156. We save it, it would print something totally different. So if we were to run this, like I had it set before, this is not what we want. This is totally incorrect. So a thought to change this would be, well, instead of has next, why don't we just read the whole line in, and then we can scan the name, and then also, since we have the ID in front, we can make a int called ID instead of equal to scan.next int, like this. And then when we run through our while loop, we add up all our doubles like normal, and then we just print out the name, and then we can also print out the ID with a space in the middle like this, and then print out everything properly. But even if we run that, we can see that it resulted in an error, only printing out the first line, which is also incorrect. And this is incorrect because it adds the next integer with the doubles. So to prevent this, what we can do is have a while loop in our main method that reads the next line, and then after it reads the next line, it can push this line into our method, and then this method will have a scanner that will scan through each line individually. So we can get rid of this method, or the text inside of this method for now, and then we can get rid of this. Now we'll write a scanner, and we'll say while, or we'll write a while loop, and this will be while scan.has next line. And in here, while it has a next line, we are just going to push this into our method. So we'll do process line, and what we're pushing into our method is the current line, so we're going to have to store that. We can do string current and set that equal to scan.next line, and then we are just going to put current as our parameter. And this should be like this. And instead of taking a string as a parameter, we are going to need to change this, or instead of taking a scanner as a parameter, we're going to need to change this to be a string and call this current. So now this all looks good, and we are going to have to create a new scanner to read this line. So the first line we have is basically going to be this, and we can write this out as an example right here. So we need a scanner to go through every single thing. We'll have scanner, we'll call this data and set it equal to new scanner, and what we're going to be scanning is our string, so current. In here we will have int ID and set this equal to current.next int. Oh, it should be data.nextInt. because current is our string, and the line is being stored in data. So we'll do data.nextInt, and then we need the name, Erica, so we'll do string name and set that equal to data.next. And then we need a loop to add up all of our doubles. We'll initialize our double sum, or we'll initialize our double sum to 0.0 like this, and then we'll have a while loop. And in our while loop, we'll do data.hasNext double. So this will run as long as there is another double in here. And in this, we'll do sum plus equals data.next double. And this will add all the doubles together. After we have this, we have stored everything. Now we can just print it out. So we'll do a sysout statement, and we are going to print total hours worked by. We should have a quote like that, and we'll do plus, and then we will have the person's name, so the current person's name, and then we will have their ID number. So we can just print a space, make sure there's a space there, ID, this, and then we can have ID. And then we'll have equals, and then we will just have the sum of the hours worked in here. Once we have all this, we can try running it, and we can see that we print out the string total hours worked by, and then the name of the person, and then their ID number, and then the actual ID, and then the number of hours worked. And we can see, if we compare this to our text file, this is what we were looking for. And so this is basically how to scan a line with totally different types of data and still work with it in our output or in our code.